10:30 tonight, Friday, and we'll come to Paul Brown.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
When you said the people who are trying to bury you and criticise you, who were you talking about there? Were you talking about ex-players in the press, or are there people inside the club perhaps that you're thinking about there?
I'm talking about the lack of clarity in the messages and using moments to try to come, and use some very disrespectful ways to describe certain things. That's what I'm saying.
Is there someone?
Nothing new, Paul.
Is there someone in particular that you're pointing out there then?
No, it's not about pointing. It's about expressing the feelings that are so obvious in moments like this.
Okay, presumably you don't mean him, but you have a Visit Rwanda sign up behind you, and the Rwandan president was very critical of your game last week. He said Arsenal must not accept mediocrity. I just wondered, has he been in touch? And presumably you agree with him.
I haven't heard the question, sorry.
The president of Uganda
made
some comments that Arsenal should not accept mediocrity.
I agree that Arsenal should not accept mediocrity. I totally agree with that.
Okay. Your players always seem to put in a performance against Chelsea. You obviously must be frustrated that you're losing sometimes to the smaller clubs, but this is a game that they can really raise their game in, isn't it?
Well, it's a London derby, again, in front of our own home fans after such a long time. So, great opportunity. This is the football game that you want to play.
Having spent more money than Chelsea, do you think you've had a better transfer window than them? And do you think it's shown that your owner has given you the full backing that he promised?
We are doing what we plan to do, or we were trying to plan to do in the best possible way, in the model that we have defined that can take the club back to where it wants, and we'll continue to do that.
But do you think you've had a better window than Chelsea? They've signed a world-class player.
We've done what we have to do. I don't know what they wanted to do, so it's difficult to compare.
Okay, and when a team spends over £100 million in the window, where do you think they should be finishing in the table?
Well, we have sold as well a lot of players. There are 6-7 players already left. It's not about the spending. It's a lot of sales as well that we have done. So it's not been only spending. It's not that we brought 7 players and nobody has gone through the door. We have a lot of players out of the door as well.
Okay. These next 2 games, Chelsea and City, and also a tricky cup game for many people, they're going to show how far away or how close you are to contending this season, aren't they?
Great games to play. We have to play everybody in the Premier League, and we have 2 great games to play ahead, and the cup game.
But coming just before an international break, when managers are often under pressure, how big is this couple of weeks for you personally, in proving that you can turn things around here?
It's all the time we want to win the next match, and after losing, the only objective is to win the next match, and that's where our focus is going to be.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Sam Dean.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
You mentioned before the ages of the players you've targeted and signed this summer. What's the thinking there in terms of the strategy and going for young players particularly?
Well, that together with the senior players that we had to define a model that can be sustainable, short, medium, and long term. And we needed to address a lot of issues that we had in our squad balance. We are doing that, bringing quality players in different stages and different education in their careers, but they can fit perfectly what we are trying to do. And we will continue to do that. Some with experience in the Premier League already, some that they are coming from abroad, but with great education as well. And I think you can see the level that they have, and still the margin for improvement and development that those players will have at the club.
One player who's definitely not going anywhere is Granit Xhaka. He signed his new contract extension. How close was he to leaving this summer? Why didn't he leave? And what's the reason for the new contract?
We never wanted to let him go. We explained him the role that he would have in the team, how important he was. Again, how far he's come in the last 2 seasons, and the fact he's come through some difficult moments, and how he has reacted and how we have achieved and not only in the field, the respect that he's gained around the football club in that dressing room. We believe that it was a really important figure, and players like that is what we need as well for all the young development players that we have in the team.
Do you sometimes wish that the fans who criticise him or the pundits who criticise him could see the impact he has behind the scenes and what kind of character he is?
It's difficult, Sam, because obviously what happens inside you don't get to see much. Sometimes you just analyzing a performance or a way of a player playing, whether you like it more or less. But from our side, there is no doubt the importance of him in the team and in the squad.
And just quickly going briefly back to COVID and the various issues around that, does the club have any additional rules or protocols for the players to follow, which are more strict than the government restrictions, for example? Have they got any specific rules they have to do?
No, we try to give them advice of where the risk could be. First of all, we already discussed about the vaccination, that it takes a lot of elements of risk away, even though we had players double vaccinated, that they still got the virus. But obviously, as well, we want to protect the welfare and the welfare of everybody else. After that, we had some various cases that you cannot believe how you can pick as well this virus. So it is tricky because the world is open and we have families around, we have people around, we can go outside. So it is tricky to maintain a level of discipline while we are here. When outside, it's everything is open.
And just lastly from me, on Martin Odegaard, obviously we saw he played alongside Emile Smith-Rowe a few times last season and did very well. Some fans will be concerned, I suppose, that this might hurt Smith-Rowe's development to have him in. How important is it to have two players who can play in that position, and what does it mean for Emile?
It's the contrary. That what we want is have Emile in a better place to develop him and have alternatives in that position. There are players that they can perfectly together. They've shown that last year, and we cannot rely on one player. We already lost a lot of creative players, so we can just rely on one player, put all this in his shoulders. Because Emile has never played 50 games at that level yet in his career. So we will need to protect him. And for sure, we need other players that are able to do that as well.
Thanks, Mikel. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. So that's 10:30 tonight. We'll come to Harry and Dan now for the Sundays, 10:30.